You know how every financial advisor tells you that you need at least $3,000 a month to retire? That Social Security alone isn't enough? That if you don't have a massive nest egg, you're basically screwed. Yeah, they're lying. Well, not lying exactly. They're just assuming you want to retire in expensive places. Because here's the thing nobody talks about. There are towns in America where you can live a decent life on $1,000 to $100 a month. That's it. Social Security plus maybe a tiny pension or some savings interest. Not wealth, not poverty, just normal middle-class retirement. These aren't villages in the woods where you're growing your own food. These are small Midwestern cities with Walmarts and doctors and fiber internet. Places where rent is $500. Utilities are manageable, and you can actually afford to eat food that isn't ramen. And before you say, yeah, but those places must be terrible, let me stop you. Some are boring. Some are cold. But terrible, no. They're just not sexy. They're not coastal. They don't have craft cocktail bars. But they have what retirees actually need. Low cost of living, healthcare access, safety, and communities. Communities that haven't been destroyed by speculation and tech money. So today we're counting down 10 Midwestern towns where you can retire on $1,200 a month and actually live, not just survive. We'll talk about what life is really like there, what the trade-offs are, and whether any of them might work for you. Because retirement shouldn't require being rich, and in these places, it doesn't. Let's talk about why this matters and why most people don't even know this is possible. The average Social Security payment right now is around $1,800 a month. Some people get more, some less. But let's say you're getting $1,200 to $1,500 a month. The conventional wisdom is that's not enough. You need supplemental income. You need savings. You need a part-time job. You're told to be scared. Except that conventional wisdom is based on living in places where rent alone is $1,500 a month, where a one-bedroom apartment costs what a mortgage used to cost, where groceries are expensive and utilities are high, and everything nickel and dimes you into poverty. But the Midwest exists, and the Midwest is cheap. Not everywhere. Chicago costs real money. Minneapolis is pricey. But small Midwestern towns? The ones that lost their factory jobs in the 80s and never fully recovered? Those places are incredibly affordable, and a lot of them have decent infrastructure because they used to be prosperous. They've got hospitals, libraries, senior centers, all the stuff that was built when times were good and hasn't been demolished yet. These towns want retirees. They need retirees. Their populations are aging or shrinking, and they need people who won't leave for jobs, who'll spend money locally, who'll stabilize the tax base. So they're actually trying to make life easier for seniors. Cheap housing, good healthcare access, community programs. And here's the part that shocks people. You can live well in these places. Not luxuriously, but well, you can afford a clean, safe apartment. You can buy real food. You can go to the doctor when you're sick. You can have hobbies. You can have a life that doesn't revolve around counting pennies. The trade-offs? You're not in a big city. Entertainment options are limited. Winters are brutal. The culture is Midwest traditional, which is either comforting or stifling depending on your politics and personality. And you're probably driving everywhere because walkability is hit or miss. But if what you want from retirement is peace, safety, affordability, and the ability to enjoy your limited income, instead of watching it disappear into rent, these towns deliver. So let's go through 10 of them, from pretty good to surprisingly nice, and figure out which ones might actually be worth considering. Number 10, Marion, Indiana. Starting off with a town that's affordable because it's been economically struggling, which is honestly the theme for most of this list. Marion used to be a manufacturing town. Now it's cheap. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment is around for $50 to $550 a month. That's absurdly low. Utilities run about $150 in winter, less in summer. Groceries are cheap because there's a Walmart and an Aldi. You can live on $1,200 a month here with money left over. Marion has about 30,000 people. It's got hospitals. It's got a university. It's not a ghost town, but it's also not thriving. The downtown is half empty. The population is declining slowly, and it's very Midwest conservative. which is fine if that's your vibe and less fine if it's not. The upside is it's genuinely cheap, and you're not isolated. The downside is Marion is kind of depressing. It's the kind of place that peaked in 1970. If you can handle that melancholy Rust Belt energy, your $1,200 will stretch far here. Marion is affordable because nobody else wants to live there, which means you can. Number 9. Ottumwa, Iowa. Moving to Iowa, where the towns are small and the cost of living is even smaller. Ottumwa has about 25,000 people. Rent for a one-bedroom runs around $500 to $600 a month. Groceries are cheap. Healthcare exists. There's a hospital and multiple clinics. And Iowa generally takes care of its elderly residents with various senior programs. Ottumwa is quiet, really quiet, the kind of place where the biggest event is the county fair. If you like small-town Iowa life, this is peak small-town Iowa. If you need culture or excitement, you're going to be bored. But here's the thing. Ottumwa is safe. Crime is low. People are generally friendly in that Midwestern way, where they'll chat with you at the grocery store. And if you're okay with a slow, quiet life where your money goes far, Ottumwa works. The downside is you're in southeast Iowa. Winters are cold, summers are humid, and you're an hour from a real city. But rent is $500 and you can buy a week's worth of groceries for $40. So there's that. Ottumwa is where your social security check becomes sufficient. Number 8. Hutchinson, Kansas. Kansas gets a bad reputation, but Hutchinson is actually kind of nice by small Kansas town standards. Population around 40,000. Rent for a decent one-bedroom is around $550 to $650 a month. Healthcare is solid with a regional medical center, and Hutchinson has some actual character. It's got a space museum, a state fair, some local festivals. It's not just a sad, empty downtown. The Midwest Plains aesthetic is definitely present. Flat. Windy. Very far from any ocean. But if you're into that or you just don't care, Hutchinson is affordable and functional. Your $1,200 a month will cover rent, food, utilities, and leave you enough for a modest social life. The downside is it's Kansas, which means tornadoes are a legitimate concern. Also very conservative politics. If that matters to you, and entertainment options are limited. You're not going to museums every weekend. But for affordable retirement where you're not living in poverty, Hutchinson delivers. It's boring, but it's cheap and safe, and sometimes that's all you need. Hutchinson is proof that Kansas is livable if you adjust your expectations. Number 7. Joplin, Missouri. Joplin is interesting because it got absolutely destroyed by a tornado in 2011 and has rebuilt into something surprisingly functional. Population around 50,000. It's right on the corner of Missouri, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, so you're technically close to multiple states, even if none of them are particularly exciting. Rent is around $550 to $700 for a one-bedroom. Healthcare is good. Multiple hospitals, lots of clinics, and Missouri has decent healthcare access for seniors. Joplin has actual amenities. Chain restaurants, a mall, some local culture. It's not cosmopolitan, but it's not dead either. And the post-tornado rebuild means a lot of the infrastructure is actually modern. The downsides are obvious. Tornado risk is real. Joplin literally got flattened 14 years ago. Also Missouri politics and culture, which is mixed bag, depending on your views. And summers are hot and humid. But if you can handle the weather and the location, Joplin is one of the better options on this list. It's affordable, it's got stuff, and it's not depressing. Your $1,200 a month will work here without feeling like you're sacrificing everything. Joplin rebuilt itself into an affordable retirement option by accident. Number 6. Terre Haute, Indiana. Terre Haute has a reputation for being kind of rough, which keeps prices low, which makes it perfect for this list. Population around 60,000. College town because of Indiana State University. Rent for a one-bedroom is around $550 to $700. Healthcare is solid with a regional medical center, and cost of living is genuinely low across the board. Terre Haute gets a bad rap for crime, but honestly, it's not that bad. Some areas are rough, some are fine. Like any small city, you just need to pick the right neighborhood. And the presence of the university means there's slightly more culture. than you'd expect in a town this size. The downsides? It's in western Indiana. Flat. Industrial. Not pretty. Winters are gray and depressing. And the town has definitely seen better days economically. But it's functional. And $1,200 a month will get you a decent life here. Terre Haute is where you go for small city amenities. At rural town prices. It's not glamorous, but it works. Terre Haute proves that reputation damage is great for affordability. Number 5. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Now we're getting into places that are actually kind of nice. Cedar Rapids is a real small city. Population around 130,000. It's got culture, museums, a downtown, actual stuff to do. Rent for a one-bedroom is around $650 to $800 a month. Still very doable on $1,200. Cedar Rapids is honestly pleasant. It's clean. It's safe. It's functional. Healthcare is excellent, with multiple hospitals and specialty clinics. And Iowa takes care of its seniors. There are programs, community centers, resources. You're not forgotten. The culture is Iowa nice. Midwest traditional. Conservative but not aggressively so. People are friendly. Crime is low. And there's enough going on that you won't be completely bored. Downsides? It's Iowa. Cold winters. Not much diversity. Limited nightlife. And if you need big city energy, you're not getting it. But if you want a quiet, safe, affordable place to retire where you're not living in poverty, Cedar Rapids is legitimately good. Your $1,200 will stretch reasonably far here. You won't be wealthy, but you'll be comfortable. And that's kind of the whole point. Cedar Rapids is the Midwest doing what the Midwest does best: quiet, affordable, functional. Number 4. Dubuque, Iowa. Iowa is killing it on this list, and Dubuque is the best example of why. Dubuque sits on the Mississippi River with actual scenery. It's got bluffs and river views and charm. Population around 60,000. Rent is around $600 to $750 for a one-bedroom. Healthcare is great, and the town actually has culture and history and stuff to do. Dubuque is genuinely pleasant. The downtown is alive. There are festivals and events. The riverfront is nice, and it's one of the prettiest towns in Iowa, which admittedly isn't a high bar, but still. For retirees on a budget, Dubuque offers something special. You get small city amenities with scenic beauty and low cost of living. Healthcare is solid. Senior services exist, and the community is welcoming. The downsides are Dubuque winters, which are brutal. Cold and snowy and long. Also, it's isolated. You're in northeast Iowa. The nearest real city is Madison or Milwaukee, both over an hour away. So if you need frequent access to big city stuff, Dubuque is limiting. But if you want a beautiful, safe, affordable place to retire where your $1,200 a month gets you a real life, Dubuque is one of the best options in the Midwest. Dubuque is what happens when a small town has actual geography to work with. Number 3. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne is the second largest city in Indiana and somehow still affordable enough to retire on $1,200 a month if you're smart about it. Population over to 50,000. This is a real city. Not huge, but real. Rent for a one-bedroom in a decent area runs $700 to $850 a month. Groceries and utilities are reasonable. And healthcare is excellent with multiple hospital systems and specialty care. Fort Wayne has actual city amenities, museums, performing arts, day zoo, restaurants, a mall. You're not living in the middle of nowhere. There's stuff to do. And the city is safe and clean and functional. The culture is Midwest conservative, but not oppressively so. The city is more diverse than you'd expect. And there's a legit sense of community. Fort Wayne is the kind of place that works even if it's not exciting. Downsides? Winter is rough. Indiana cold and gray. And while Fort Wayne is affordable compared to big cities, it's on the higher end for this list. Your $1,200 will cover basics, but you'll have less cushion than in smaller towns. But if you want to retire in an actual city with real infrastructure and amenities, while staying on a tight budget, Fort Wayne might be your best bet in the Midwest. Fort Wayne is proof that you don't have to live in a tiny town to be affordable. Number 2. Springfield, Missouri. Springfield is shockingly nice for how cheap it is, and I'm not sure enough people know this. Population around 170,000. It's a real city with actual stuff. Rent for a one-bedroom runs $650 to $800 a month. Healthcare is fantastic with multiple hospitals, including a major medical center. And cost of living is low across the board. Springfield has culture. It's got universities. It's got entertainment. It's got a functioning downtown. And it's in the Ozarks, so there's actual scenery. Hills and forests and nature. It's not flat and depressing like a lot of the Midwest. For retirees on $1,200 a month, Springfield offers an incredible quality of life. Affordable, safe, good health care, actual amenities, and a sense that the city is stable and functional. The downsides? Missouri politics, if that's not your thing. Bible Belt culture, which is pervasive. And while Springfield is nice, it's still a small Missouri city. You're not getting big city sophistication, but you are getting everything you actually need to retire comfortably on a limited budget. Springfield is where affordability meets actual quality of life. It's one of the best-kept secrets for budget retirement. Springfield makes you wonder why more people don't retire in Missouri. Number 1, Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And at number 1, the town that shouldn't be this nice for this cheap but somehow is. Sioux Falls has over 190,000 people. It's the largest city in South Dakota and is genuinely thriving. The economy is good, the city is growing, and somehow rent is still around $700 to $900 a month for a one-bedroom. Healthcare in Sioux Falls is excellent. 2 major hospital systems, specialists, modern facilities. For retirees, this is crucial. And the city is safe. Really safe. Crime is low. The streets are clean. Infrastructure works. Sioux Falls has culture, restaurants, parks, trails, events. It's got everything you'd want from a small city. And the community is welcoming and functional. Plus, South Dakota has no state income tax, which helps stretch your budget even further. The downsides? It's South Dakota. Winters are absolutely brutal, cold and windy and miserable. Also, it's isolated. You're in the upper Midwest. The nearest major city is Minneapolis, hours away. And the culture is conservative and religious, which is either a plus or a minus depending on your perspective. But if you can handle cold winters and isolation, Sioux Falls offers something special. A real city with real amenities where you can retire on $1,200 a month and actually thrive, not just survive. Healthcare is great, safety is great, quality of life is great, and your money goes far. Sioux Falls is what affordable retirement looks like when everything goes right. So what does all this actually mean? First, retiring on Social Security alone is possible if you're willing to live in places that aren't expensive. The Midwest has a lot of small cities that are safe, functional, and incredibly cheap. You just have to be okay with not living on a coast. Second, the trade-offs are real. You're giving up big city amenities. You're dealing with harsh winters. You're living in culturally conservative areas. And you're probably not walking to restaurants and museums, because these places are mostly car-dependent. But you're getting affordability, safety, and healthcare access. For a lot of retirees, that's the right trade. Third, $1,200 a month is tight but workable in these places. You're not going on cruises or eating out every day, but you can afford rent, food, utilities, basic entertainment, and occasional splurges. You're living modestly but with dignity. Fourth, not everyone can do this. If you have serious health issues that require specialized care, you might need a bigger city. If you have family elsewhere that you need to visit frequently, isolation is a problem. If you hate cold weather or small-town culture, these places will make you miserable. And fifth, this is a snapshot of right now. These places are affordable because they're not in demand. If remote work causes mass migration to cheap Midwestern towns, prices could rise. But for now, today, these options exist. So there you have it. 10 Midwestern towns where you can retire on $1,200 a month and actually live a decent life. These aren't paradise. They're cold. They're isolated. They're culturally Midwest, which is great if that's your thing and limiting if it's not. But they're safe, affordable, and functional. And for retirees on fixed incomes who are tired of being told they need 3 times what they actually have, these places prove the conventional wisdom is wrong. Retirement doesn't have to be expensive. It just has to be in the right place. And the right place might be a small Midwestern city you've never heard of where rent is $600 and healthcare is good and you can actually afford groceries. Is it the retirement you dreamed about when you were young? Probably not. But dreams are expensive. Reality is living somewhere safe and affordable where you're not constantly stressed about money. And these towns offer that. The question is whether you're willing to make the trade-offs. Can you handle cold winters? Can you live without big city culture? Can you be happy in a small town where everyone knows everyone and entertainment is limited? If the answer is yes, or even maybe, these places are worth considering. So here's my question for you. If you could retire on your Social Security alone by moving to a small Midwestern town, would you do it? Or is the trade-off too big? Would you rather struggle financially in an expensive city than live comfortably in Sioux Falls? Drop a comment. Let me know. Because I genuinely think a lot of people don't realize these options exist. And maybe knowing they exist changes the calculus. And if you found this useful or interesting or it made you think about retirement differently, maybe consider subscribing. We talk about housing, cost of living, and how to actually make life work without being rich. Because that's the goal, right? Not wealth, just security, just the ability to live without constant financial stress. And in these 10 towns, $1,200 a month can buy you exactly that.